We went back to Teavivre and got something very interesting. What's it called?
Tangerine peel white tea.
Yes, we had this thing called a mandarin orange filled with pu'er, but they do things to that. I'm hoping this is not... That was a bit musty for my taste.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is more fresh. Because it didn't say anything about smelling like mustiness. How is it? I think it's in little packets.
The one out there.
That doesn't look like an orange.
That is very interesting, isn't it?
I do get an orange smell from it. So
that is, it is colored
little bags.
orange.
Is that one serving there? 2 servings?
I think this is probably 1 serving.
I don't think the description mentioned little bags, did it?
No.
We're going to open this little bag. Listen to that. Let's see what we got. We haven't done much gong fu lately, and we had a request for it, so we're back. We've been exploring the world of coffee, but don't worry, we have not abandoned tea. We like to try new things. Oh, look, it's a square. It's like a cracker. Oh, that's awesome. It's a pressed cracker.
A lot of their white tea comes in that, because the other white tea that we tried from them was also in a cracker.
That smells good. This is not the kind that's... What's the word they had for that mandarin orange? They left it in the orange peel for 20 years. It was...
Aged.
No, an acquired taste that I've not acquired. But this smells terrific, like a tangerine. Okay, so far I'm voting for it. Of course, sniffing dry tea doesn't mean much because the aromatics come out in the water. Now, white tea is the least process of tea. They leave it least... smells good. The least amount of time, do the least stuff to it. All the way down to pu'er that they age for years in a wet pile. We have a particular fondness for pu'er.
The wet pile tea.
The wet pile tea of it. But not with an orange peel. But I just had to try this because I'm curious. White tea has a delicate taste in general.
And a very delicate color, too, that you can barely see.
So once you mix it with the tangerine, I don't know if the tangerine will overpower it or complement it nicely. To my American taste buds. But we shall see. Smells greatly diminished. Is there anything in there? Is this the first, or did you pour off the first?
This is the first, well, it's the 1.5. It's the first re-pour with extra water.
I get a little oranginess.
It reminds me of cough syrup.
And a little tea. Does not remind me of cough syrup.
Maybe I'm scarred.
Maybe you are. It's just ever so slightly orange. All right, and we're going to run this thing today and let you see all the tastings and only edit out if it's something really long and boring. Since we had a request to see the whole thing. If we say something scandalous, I may edit that out. Because we do that.
Just occasionally.
We're scandalous people.
I was playing Trivial Pursuit with some relatives the other day. And one of the questions was, what town is the Music Man set in? And I couldn't remember off the top of my head, so I sang one of the songs from the Music Man that had the name in it. And then my family members looked at me like I had 2 heads.
You got trouble. Right here in River City. Starts with a T and that rhymes with P. And that stands for pool. Starts with a T, rhymes with P, and that stands for pool.
That's trouble with a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool.
Have you memorized it?
Just that part. It's very... It
Pattery.
sits. It stays. Also, we watched 2 different versions of the movie in a week.
Yes, the old one and the new one. And we decided we liked the old one.
Except for the townspeople.
Yeah, townspeople were better in the new one. The old one was Shirley Jones, and Harold Hill was played by Robert
Preston.
The new one was Kristen Chenoweth, who is a brilliant singer and actor, but did not beat Shirley Jones for this particular role.
And Ferris Bueller.
I'm Ferris Bueller. Yeah. What's his real name?
Matthew Broderick.
And, so this is number 2 here.
Yes, not the most convincing con man.
But cute as he could be. The man is adorable. Ferris?
Tea.
Oh, yes. Just needed a second. That's good. The mother in the second one I loved. She had all kinds of Irish personality and big head of red hair. The mom in the first one was playing the role correctly, but not within any excitement.
Just sort of there.
She was supporting cast. The mother in the second one made herself one of the stars.
We watched the new one first, and then we watched the old one to compare.
And I will disappoint all the musical lovers in the world when I tell you about Carousel. Terrible plot.
My favorite scene in all of Carousel is when he's been shot.
I think he was shot
or stabbed or something like that. He's been mortally impaled.
Murdered.
And he's lying there speaking, and he says something, and then he's halfway through another sentence, and he just flops.
Very Bugs Bunny.
Actually, the whole thing was rather Looney Tunes.
The acting was tepid, but
the
dancing was divine. I suppose that's why your voice teacher wanted you to watch it. Those people were jumping off the roof backward and landing on each other's shoulders in their giant dresses. And then the men would go down in that little Russian squat, and they would do things that are not physiologically possible.
I learned how to do the Russian squat. It's very difficult and requires lots of core strength. I tried to get her to do it. She didn't really.
I can't do that. I'm old. I couldn't do that when I wasn't old. I used to be able to do a back bend, but at some point I realized gravity can make you hit your head. Depending on her willingness, we may end up with a picture of her doing the Russian squat.
I don't think with a picture I'd just be doing a squat.
A moving picture.
You mean a video?
A video. Why do you insist on the correct wording?
I don't know.
That's a detail.
It's something my English teacher instilled in me.
Yeah. Okay, describe this one. Lightly orangey. Just a little bit of tea. The orangeness is all around my teeth now. Mm-hmm. Not bitter, sweet. It's sweet orangey.
It's like someone put half a thing of Tang in some white tea.
It's not like Tang. Tang is a nasty, vile substance. This is sweet and lovely. Delicate. I don't know that I taste the tea. But if you are a Tang lover wanting to scale back on your Tang use, are there Tang addicts out there? Okay, do you know what Tang is? NASA developed it. It's powdered orange juice. And who knows what else.
Astronaut food.
The idea was you could go into space with it. It wasn't a liquid, so it wouldn't float around. Well, how did they get it into liquid form? I know they had to ingest water. Was it in pressurized tanks and they sucked out of it? I have to look that up. Is this number 4?
3.
3? Okay.
The thing with Looney Tunes-esque movies is that it can go either way. Like White Christmas, the theater dance with Danny Kaye, so of course it's a little silly. But with that, it's very Looney Tunes, but it's in like a reminiscent way that feels...
Vintage.
Yeah, but with Carousel, they're doing the Looney Tunes stuff, and aside from the dancing, it just feels a little weird.
The acting is tepid. The dancing is spectacular. I only wish I could do those things, but alas, I never shall because I shall never work at it, and frankly, might not have the potential anyway. Okay, so now it's becoming more tea-like.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? If you have a family member who likes flavors and doesn't like tea, this is the way to get them there.
I'm just going to come up.
It is not scary or offensive or anything of the sort. It's
to the camera here for a moment.
Sweet and delicate.
To show you part of the rind.
Can you see it? Is it lovely?
It's very interesting.
All squished up in a little cake. Mm-hmm. So I would say this is the right amount for 2 people. And it is withstanding multiple infusions so far. White tea taste goes away fairly quickly because it's not much in the first place.
I think perhaps the citrus will be hanging around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say something, but I forgot what I was going to say.
Was it about dancing?
Maybe. One of my favorite lines in White Christmas is, "The theater, the theater. What's happened to the theater?" It's the only line I actually remember. Except for that thing where they're on the train and they all sing Snow in harmony.
Snow.
Snow.
Snow. It's nothing like that.
No.
It's much better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Now is this number 4?
Yes.
Okay.
We usually don't count.
It's perking up.
It has a bit of acidity now.
It's brighter. Still orangey.
Oh.
Like if you put an orange in hot water.
Since we seem to be on the subject of movies.
Movies.
I have a couple I've watched recently.
Sigh.
We watched The Princess Bride a while ago. I think we already mentioned it. But last week, I watched Dead Poets Society.
Robin Williams.
And all these other people, too.
Robin Williams can do things that other people can't do.
Yeah, it doesn't say who the other people are.
Do they matter?
Well, they're the students. They play the students.
I didn't actually watch it. Then or now.
I don't remember any of their names. It was a lovely movie.
I guess they were all supporting cast. If Robin Williams stars in a movie, that's it.
My friends and I watched excerpts of it because we had a unit in poetry recently in English class, and the Dead Poets Society is, poetry is in the name, and there's a lot of Walt Whitman poems recited in the movie.
Leaves of Grass.
Oh, Captain, my Captain. And so we watched it for that because we were talking about Walt Whitman poems, and we all got intrigued by it, so I was sort of like the test dummy. I found the DVD on Amazon for like $6 and watched it and gave my opinion to the friend group.
Now it tastes like tea. Is this 5?
This is still 4.
This is still 4. Okay. Yeah. The orange is moving to the background, and I can taste the tea.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you could say it's balanced on infusion number 4.
I'd say there were probably like 3 left.
Okay. Were I a cake-eating person, I would pull out an orange or lemon pound cake.
Well,
With some
possibly
white
a
icing.
lemon bar.
A lemon bar.
A lemon bar could be good with this.
Homemade. With a crust made out of shortbread. I'm not a cake-eating person, but if I were,
She used to be.
someone offered me lemon pound cake when I was visiting a home. I didn't take it, but it smelled good.
We had cake last Sunday.
From Costco.
I think I'm losing my taste for cake. Or maybe that was just a really weird cake.
Well, it was white cake with cheesecake instead of frosting in the filling.
And an incredible amount of frosting on the top. Is this 5 or is this 6?
Well, we were on 4.
Well, then this would be 5.
Okay.
That's the way math works.
We're brilliant at counting.
Yeah, I'm great at counting. I don't like finding orthocenters, though.
Finding what?
Orthocenters.
What's an orthocenter?
Similar to incenters, also known as circumcenters. Well, incenters aren't
So
known
it's
as
not your bone
circumcenters.
doctor.
No.
Like I went to the ortho center and got my knee replacement. It's not that.
No.
Okay.
Orthocenter is you make a line down the center of one of the angles of a triangle, and then you do other lines going here, and then you find it in the middle.
They must have invented that since I took geometry.
Geometry.
Because I just remember proofs. You would add things up
hate
and
proofs.
somehow that proved that it was a...
I hate proofs. You know,
Square.
proofs are a strange thing. Because why do I have to prove to you that this right angle is 90 degrees? Shouldn't you be able to look at it and say to yourself, that is an angle with a little square attached to it? I think that means that it's probably a right angle. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to this high schooler and I'm going to say, prove to me with all these various theorems that bounce around in your head that this is a right angle.
And the theorems are like, if x is this, then y is
We
that.
have like
Something about a hypotenuse.
So there's SSS for triangle congruence, there's SAS for triangle congruence, there's ASA for triangle congruence, and there's SSA for triangle congruence, and then there's the hypotenuse leg theorem, which is not at all related to the rest of them. The rest of them are side angle
so if
side.
you have a hypotenuse leg, you should probably go ahead and see your doctor about it, right?
No, it's
No.
for triangle congruency, specifically for right triangle. So if you have a right angle and you have a base and the 2 legs, actually I don't. Anyway, if you have 2 triangles and they're both right triangles and you have the right angle here and the line here, if you have the right angle and the line here and then these 2 lines are congruent on each of the triangles, then you can use hypotenuse leg to determine that they are congruent triangles because you can't just look at them for some reason.
If you're a mathematician, comment on whatever she just said. I don't know. If I have a hypotenuse leg, I'm having it checked out. That's all I know.
I'm just sort of
Might be
spouting out
contagious.
what they're saying. And then there's side angle side where you have a congruent side,
I know all those
a
words.
congruent angle, and a congruent side. Or there's angle side. No.
No.
Angle side where you have an angle.
Don't hurt yourself.
SSA is side angle, which is where you have 2 sides that are congruent and an angle that's congruent, but they aren't side angle side. They're side angle or side angle. Actually, there's only really one way that you can do that.
I don't know, but ASA is acetylsalicylic acid.
And also a king.
Acetylsalicylic acid. Yeah, and Asa in the Bible.
One of my friends has a brother named Asa, so the whole time we were doing that unit, I just
Thought
kept
about
thinking,
her brother.
What's Asa doing here?
And SAS is a shoe brand. My mother used to have them, I think. How is this one?
I like this one the best so far. It's tasty.
It's maturing. It's less sweet. What number is it?
Still 5.
Still 5. Look at you counting. It's fabulous.
I had 2 tests today.
Math.
Geometry and biology. I didn't really like either one of them, but surprisingly, I preferred the 50-question biology test to the 13-question geometry test.
More per question.
Well, the 50-question biology test was worth 100 points, and the 13-question geometry test was worth 40 points, but somehow answering 50 biology questions is less painful than answering 13 geometry questions. It's amazing. Our unit was on evolution. A controversial topic.
I personally am not the child of a monkey. Thank you.
We mostly talked about what word is trying to come out of my mouth? Adaptivity, adaptiveness, natural selection, all the selections, artificial
Can the
selection.
organism make it to the next generation?
There's natural selection, and then there's artificial selection, and then there's in the branch of artificial selection is just humans picking what they like picking dogs that can't breathe because they like the smashed noses. But
Doesn't seem nice.
no, it's not. But natural selection, you have various umbrellas of natural selection. So you have natural selection that is the environment, and then there's natural selection that is the sexual selection, where either the males fight for the female or the female chooses the male based on a trait they have. There's intra and intro, and I can't remember which one is which. But one of them is about, look, these goats are fighting, and whichever one wins will have my affections. And then there's, look, a pretty peacock.
I like peacocks. They're pretty.
Colorful. This will probably be the last infusion here.
Is this 6?
Yes.
If you've stuck with us this long, congratulations. You are tenacious.
And very good at navigating idle chit-chat.
Chit-chat. You're probably here for the chit-chat. I think
That's why
people
they
who
like
watch us mostly like the mother-daughter interaction. So we're giving it to you whole hog today.
Hair's been bothering me.
What's it doing?
It's not laying right.
I guess I could cut it again. I do that occasionally. Emma's deciding between what kind of bangs.
Well, really, I'm just considering curtain bangs, which would be about what I have now, actually, just more like this.
As Bugs Bunny would say, it's coitins for you, Rocky.
So, like, something like this.
Well, from this angle, I don't like that. That's kind of awful. Might be better if it was cut, but I don't know. The thing about bangs is they grow out and you have to maintain them and they're bothersome. I've had them.
I'm also considering getting a different brush for my hair.
Okay, now we have a nice balance between orange and tea. And I'm guessing it'll be more tea-like and less orange-like as we go. Were we to have more, but we might stop at 6 here.
I think we'll stop at 6.
Who is this for?
If you like fruit, this is a pretty good tea. If you like white tea, this is an okay tea. If you like fruity white teas, this is for you.
And if you're just introducing someone to tea and you're afraid they're not going to like tea, this is probably a good starting point. Because it's gentle and sweet and mild. And until we see you again,
Make sure to make time for tea and a good book.